The entrance hall and cross hall of the White House. Big, cold, glossy, with light coming in from all directions. No wonder I built my chops up before I did this one. Hello, this is Kurt Wallner. The entrance hall is just like any other room. It's got floors, a ceiling, walls, each one more difficult than the other. So, while there's still time, let's get going. What makes the ceiling so challenging is that this area up here in the top is just a big, flat expanse of plaster, and there's no place for me to hide my streaky pens. I thought I would start by shading in the cross hall and tabulature. The shading will tell me how far I can go with the ceiling of both the cross hall and the entrance hall. You can see here that there are zillions and zillions of little details. So if you use a dry light gray marker and go back and forth enough, it won't streak and it will give you sort of an airbrushy effect. Seen together, that area is not streaked, but it's not very dark either for all that backing and forthing. That's the only dry light gray I have. The other ones are newer and they're much juicier. They'll streak. So I'm obliged to use the lightest of my newer light grays, and I test how it looks out in the border of the ceiling, and it looks good, and I have to hold my breath while I do the main part. All this backing and forthing does wonders for my nervous system. There. Well, that's a little streaky, but, it's not as bad as I had feared, so, woo! I'm going to do the walls in my usual manner of working from left to right. It's a delicate balance because the gray walls above the dado is lighter than the entablature, and the pilasters have to be darker. The north wall with its window has to be in shadow because there's nothing illuminating it. The right-hand wall in the cross hall is illuminated by the light coming in from the window. So now I have the pilasters, the candelabra, and the marble baseboards in, so now I can leave all this gray behind and do the front door in a nice dark brown. I still have to be mindful that this is a really dark door. It's only a semi-gloss finish, and so some reflections, but not so much. There, that looks pretty well. I think I'm going to have to hit the whole north wall with some more gray because the windows and the fan light over the door doesn't pop enough. Oh, yeah. No, that's getting it. I darken the ceiling a little to sell the light coming in. Emboldened now, I put in these red drapes with their wooden fringe and orange lining. Flamboyant, aren't they? I can see why they are so big. Basically, the color scheme is marble and red. Like the red drapes, I only use 2 shades for the carpet. A lighter one and a darker one. I pay a lot of attention to the top of the stairs and the light coming in from the window on the landing. Just love that effect. Last but not least, I spent some time drawing in my East Room colors. Good thing I wrote all the recipes down all those years ago. Although technically the floor, the lavishly bordered red runner going down the cross hall, well, it has to be its own operation. Here the streaks made by the red pen I have hardly show. It's something about this particular color. But they resemble a weaving pattern somehow. Once the carpet widens, I have to be careful to follow the curved perspective that I've set up, and as well as plug in on any of the little white specks, which are really noticeable at this point. This highly polished floor is easily the biggest reflective surface I have ever attempted. I have to revert to my usual working methodology, so I'm going to do an upside down pencil, followed by inking and then coloring. In looking at the photos, I can see that the floor is so shiny that something reflects pretty much at any distance. See how you can still see this Marine or the sailor reflected, and he's tall and the camera's a long ways away. Anyway, the angle helps, of course, and I can see that we'll have to draw everything upside down. However, I drew the pilaster capitals the right side up, and so now I just draw them upside down. How all of this stuff appears kind of reminds me of scissors, paper, rock. You know, what's a stronger color and what is a brighter value coming in, but what I know is that the light coming in through the window is one thing, as it illuminates the floor, but the light coming through the window as reflected in the floor beats everything that's in the floor. So it's the brightest thing that will ever appear in the floor, so I have to work around that particular phenomenon. So this circle represents an area in between the two pairs of columns in the center. It's where everybody tromps through there, and the floor is so scuffed that it can't get to a shine like the rest of the room. So this has to be another treatment. So this is looking well. First thing that we do in the inking is to trace the pencil in gray, not black, gray. And then the colors for the floor have to go in next. The gray and mauve, I'm trying to figure out the shading, and I have to do some testing. This drawing shows how I was considering to do this. Kind of complicated. But this doesn't take into consideration how the floor itself lightens up toward the window, and this is the key to making this look the way it's supposed to. As I've done in my other drawings, a big fade like this has to be done in sections. So I divide the area that needs to lighten up, figure out what area can be dark, and then where it needs to be light, I divide that up into 4 sections. And then I formulate a recipe for how to make the colors lighten up in 4 stages. So now I have a lot to remember when I'm filling this in. Full light gray and mauve in this direction and not where the windows are reflected. Do not color a mauve square where it doesn't belong. Use the right recipe in the different zones. Make sure that the gray only squares are coming toward us. There's so much to worry about. Okay, practically done. Now I have to figure out whether anything is missing. This is the point where I always say you have to have this sense enough to say this is done when it's done and go no further. I think the door and the north wall could use some more shading. But what else is missing? Oh, I see. It's here. Can you see it? Yes. The reflection in the newel post top. So now it is done. My 2 biggest challenges, the ceiling and the floor, conquered pretty well, I think. In any case, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel if you would. Until next time, thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.